Hey, what's poppin', KENfolk? Kenneth at you again with another episode of KENfluence. Now, today's topic, a little different. We're talking about thoughts, feelings, and how that kind of shapes your world, the world that you live in, thoughts, feelings, and the other expanded connections that both of those have to how you deal with yourself, people in society, people you're close to, and just how you go in and out of different interactions throughout life. So, and that can be a number of things, not just relationships, but also projects that you work on, your work, your passions, and how you just maneuver certain situations internally. Figuring that out is an important part of just being human, man, and just really getting to the root of why you are the way you are, and getting to what I would consider a better, healthier space to better do things that you want to do in life. I know everyone has these thoughts of, kind of grandeur in a way. Everybody's thinking, I want to get to the next level. I want to make more money. I want to be happier. I want to feel more fulfilled. I want to make my family more happy. I want to do all these things for these people that I love. But how do I get there? You have all these like hidden, invisible barriers sometimes that are in the way. And it's like, well, what are they? How do they surface? How do they manifest themselves? And to me, it's pretty simple. Most of it, I would say 80% to 90, maybe even more than that, is just straight, no kidding, no joke, just how you think, your thought process, and how you manage your thought process. Do you just have wild, loose thoughts out here running around like horses on the range, or are they more disciplined? Are your thoughts more regimented? Are your thoughts more purposeful? Having purposeful thoughts and feelings behind those thoughts, that's powerful. That's very powerful. And when you can control how you feel, you can control how you perceive the world and your perception of the world in here, heart and mind, you got it nailed down. You got it on lock. So let's delve into that subject right now. KENfluence, baby. All right, so bet. Let's talk about thoughts. The origin of it all, right? The origin of how you are, the origin of how you move the way you move, and the rationale behind your inspirations and influences and your drive and all these other things. Your thoughts, the reason you hate certain things, love certain things. And I'm jumping the gun already talking about how your thoughts kind of lead into your feelings, and we'll get into that too. But your thoughts, they're yours. And let's go ahead and take ownership of that right now. The thoughts that you think, nobody programmed them into your head. Nobody said, hey, Ken, here goes a thought. Boom, think about that all day. Nobody says, at gunpoint, think of this thought all day. Damn it, if you don't think of this thought, I'm gonna blow the rest of your thoughts away. Nobody does that, right? Your thoughts are uniquely and genuinely your own. You go through the effort of thinking those. And of course, there's your subconscious at play, and there are things that weigh on your mind, and things that kind of perpetuate themselves over and over again. And we can call those things anxieties, we can call those things worries, we can call those things whatever we want to call them. But at the end of the day, it's you worrying about it, it's you being anxious about it. And we can debate whether or not those things are controllable or not, but in my opinion, yeah, they are to a degree. It's your mind and how you build the palace of thoughts in your mind, how strong that palace or that castle of thought is. That's completely up to you. So they say that titles are all in your head, right? So a lot of, you'll see mainstream pop artists, rappers, singer-songwriters, athletes, a lot of these folks have conditioned themselves to see themselves as whoever we see them as years ago. You know what I'm saying? Cisco was Cisco before anybody knew this man's name. Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan before. I don't know why I started off with Cisco before Michael Jordan. I don't know how he got there, but my thoughts are my own. I gotta own that. But Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan before anybody believed in him, right? He had to have the thought up here that I'm gonna be the damn best at what I do. And you know what? Nobody's gonna be better at me or cleaner at what I do than me. I'm gonna be an originator. Mike Jackson, same thing. The list goes on. Just pick a bunch of Michaels, and 9 times out of 10 they invented something or remixed the game in some shape or fashion. Diddy, talking about remixes, you get it. Starts up here. So your thoughts are your own, and that thought that you are something, right? Even back in the day, a king wasn't a king until he thought he was a king. Of course, there's royal blood and everything like that. But a lot of times kings, if you really go back into history, especially back in France and England, a lot of times these princes would grow up with all these, classes or, crash courses in etiquette and kingship and whatever else. And, they would have these long and very public stories of how they just screwed up. And it would take something very significant for them to have that mind shift of, I am a king now. And I think we need to apply that to ourselves when we talk about, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I'm a this, I'm a that. It starts up here. So if you're not having king thoughts, you could never be a king. You will never be a pro athlete or the best in your career field or the best doctor, dentist, lawyer, scientist, astrophysicist ever if you don't think it up here. Take ownership of your thoughts and think the things that are going to be conducive to who you want to be and who you want the world to prescribe to. You know what I mean? If you're not being that person, if you're not thinking yourself as that person, then that's a problem in itself. So your thoughts are your own. Do the things that are going to put you in that position, making you the person you want to be. The thoughts we have, then we interpret them, and the way we process those, usually the first step in processing a thought is a feeling. How do you feel about it? A lot of times we have great ideas, and it'll be like your $1 million idea. I should write a book. I should start a podcast. I should make a Tesla. I should do whatever. The thought of how of that thing comes in your mind, but how you feel about it is really your interpretation of the thought. So if you're not confident in the fact that you can do those things, then chances are you're not going to do them. If you have a lot of anxiety that swirls around it, if you have a lot of animosity for people who have done it already, and maybe you feel that the market is saturated in a certain fashion, and there's too many cookies on the cookie aisle, you feel like there's too many candy bars on the candy bar roll, you're gonna feel a type of way about it. And if you feel like your product's not like that, if you don't think you're the next Snicker bar, if you don't think you are the next Kit Kat, then guess what? You're probably not, for one. And two, maybe go back to the drawing board, figure out why you think that and why you have those feelings. So your feelings are kind of a telltale sign of how you interpret your thoughts. The step beyond that is perception, right? And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up, is the perception piece of it. So we will have these thoughts, we will feel a certain type of way about it, and we will either stop in that action and we'll cold turkey quit whatever we're thinking about, or we'll pivot in a different direction. It's not really a call to action just to feel a certain type of way, especially when we have ugly feelings or feelings that we don't really like. Boom, stop and block. But when you have perception, which is the next step after feelings, it's taking those feelings and saying, okay, well, why do I feel this way? I feel this way because XYZ. Okay, well, if I change boom to boom to boom, then maybe this is a better situation for me. So for me, that's something that I always try to stay cognizant of, trying to make sure that through whatever happens, I keep a lens on me that at the end of the day, I am myself. I'm blessed to be me. I wouldn't want to be anybody other than me, and I can figure it out. You can, some people get into affirmations. I'm sure that everybody, whether you are aware of it or not, I feel like everybody kind of has those things that they keep falling back to, that I am this is what I identify as, this is me. If I could just boil myself down right now to the raw ingredients, this is who I am, this is what I stand on, and it's a dub on everything that's not that. So have that, and at the end of the day, be grounded in that fact that you are you love you, and you can make it shake how you want to. If you don't believe that, do the things that you need to do in order to change that. If you can't facilitate change within yourself, you will never be able to facilitate change in the world. If you can't change the things within yourself to be who you want to be, or to obtain the things that you want, and you're blaming society, you're blaming your mom or your dad, or your ex, or the neighbor's dog across the street for waking you up at 4:30 and you're sleepy, and you can't do the things you want to do throughout the day because you don't have enough rest. If you're making these excuses over and over and over again, you will never ever get to be where you want to be. And not only that, but you'll never be able to step outside of yourself and affect change beyond just you, which to me is important. Being able to influence my friend groups, being able to influence the relationships I'm in, being able to make things move and shift that work the way I need them to, in order to either better suit the companies that I work for, or that sometimes suit my best interests, So that's something to be aware of. Keep that in mind. One of the things I love probably more than anything on Instagram or on really social media is the positive quotes and shit that you see floating around. It'll be some shit like a mountain, and it'll be like, your attitude determines your altitude. Big ass mountains, clouds, it's all like white font, it's black and white. You might have like one little pop of color in there. It's got to be grayscale. If it's not grayscale, it really doesn't matter like that. Something about grayscale just screams power and motivation. But honestly, the quote is dead on. It's just trite and cliche because we overuse it, and we get into these habits, especially in American society, where we will look at something and we'll overuse the mess out of it, and over time we'll lose the original meaning and the original gravity of whatever we were talking about. So let's run that back. Your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitudes, your feelings determine your altitude. Where are you going in life? Your altitude, your thoughts and feelings determine your altitude. How far you go in life and what you're able to do. Come on, man. That's a cool quote. To me, it is. And it makes a lot of sense. But I feel like we also get in this space of using and overusing coefficients. So I'm a biologist by trade, right? So my undergrad degree is in biology, and I love it. I love science a lot. Big geek in that regard. And one of the things in biology and a lot of other physical sciences, and especially math too, right? You have these long formulas, and they're widely understood, but to keep from continually writing the same formulas over and over and over again, or writing these long chunks of numbers, what do? We use coefficients, right? So coefficients for, folks who have been out of school for a hot minute, or maybe you're teaching your third and fourth graders and you need a little refresher yourself. Coefficient is usually a letter or symbol that we use to represent either a formula or maybe a really long number. So we have to keep writing over and over again. So you can think of E equals MC squared as a formula with coefficients in it. So everybody knows E equals MC squared. If you don't know what it means, it's a theory of relativity by Albert Einstein, one of the most commonly recognized formulas out there. So E, energy, equals mass, m, times c, which is the speed of light, squared. E equals MC squared. So if you were figuring out this problem, right, and you had, let's say, you're trying to figure out energy. So E equals MC squared. You're trying to figure out the E. Somebody says solve for that. Well, E equals M mass. You throw in whatever mass you have. You convert it however you want to convert it. C. What the fuck is C? What in the fuck is a C? C is the speed of light. Most motherfuckers don't know off the top of their head the speed of light. Who does? Who keeps the speed of light on their hip like that? I do. It's 186,000. I think it's like kilometers per second, something like that. See, but that's why we use coefficients, right? So that we have the correct units and the correct numbers in there at all times. But if you didn't know that number, again, I don't know what the units are, but it's 186,000 that you would plug in there, right? And then let your conversions do whatever they do at the end. But that's what we do with quotes a lot of times. You'll use these abbreviated things like your altitude determines your your attitude determines your altitude, like that, and you'll lose the complete meaning. Coefficients are fine, they're great, they're awesome, and you need that shorthand if you're really immersed in something, if you're really using that over and over and all the time. But if you don't have a constant, solid understanding, fundamental understanding of what's going on, you got to peel back the layers until you do. And then once you do understand what's going on, then it's fine to use those coefficients. But again, in our society, we just kind of glance over a lot of things and like, yeah, I get it, but you really don't. So when it comes to thoughts becoming feelings, determining your perception is really how we get together and look at our view of the world. Like your thoughts are shaping how you view, other people, other organizations, ideas about money, ideas about education, ideas about so many different things. And if you open your mind and have awareness of yourself and why you feel these different types of ways, unpack those and maybe change your perspectives, because that's the key, changing perspective. That's what we're trying to get to. Change your thoughts, to change your feelings, to change your perspectives. Come on, man. That is the key. And that is what we're after. So for me, how I think of it all is, I think of it like a circle, right? A circle with 3 arrows that all point to each other in this circle. So it's your thoughts lead into your feelings, which lead into your perspective. And that perspective is what informs your thoughts again. And spiraling out of that circle at each juncture is action. Now there are different types of action. There are different, potencies of actions that come out of that. And I like to really, the origin of words and phrases to me is very important. What are you really saying when you say these things? What are you really meaning? What is the meaning behind what you're saying and how you're communicating? So when people say you're spiraling out of control versus you're on a roll, this is the meaning I think of. When somebody says you're on a roll, I look at it as the positive side of the coin of somebody spiraling, which would be the more negative side of the coin. So if you're on a roll, your thoughts are leading to your feelings, are leading into your perception, which lead back into better thoughts, which leads into better feelings, which leads into better perception, which leads into even better thoughts that lead into even better feelings, to even better perception, and these better actions, right? These higher forms of action keep going around in a circle, and it's amazing, right? And it's like, whoa, that person's really on a roll. They're really keyed in, they're really locked in, and amazing things are happening. On the flip side of that, somebody is spiraling, and bad thoughts leading into bad feelings, go into bad perceptions, and it keeps going around and around and around. And it counterclockwise, I don't think clockwise and counterclockwise really matters like that. But either way, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Another video for another time. But you really want to be aware of these things so that if you're noticing yourself getting into these bad loops, you're like, okay, well, what is it in the what part of this loop am I jacking up? Is it my thought? Is it my perception? Is it my action? Is it my feelings? Where do I need to adjust to better myself? Same thing with being on a roll. Things are going well. What do I need to keep doing to keep this going? What do I need to do to stay in this flow, to stay in this mojo, to stay in this groove that I'm in? Because I want to keep this thing going. I want to get the best actions, the best results possible for as long as possible. It's miles per second. It's 186,000 miles per second. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I thought about it and I was like, kilometers, you would have to convert to miles anyway. So random, I know, but you got, like I said before, man, we be out here saying coefficients that we don't really know like that because, you know, you just think you know it, but it's miles. I don't know if anybody's studying and listening to this and they're like, oh, Ken said that the speed of light, hey, it's 186,000 miles per second. Anyway. All right, man, that's essentially it. In a nutshell, your thoughts influence your feelings, which influence your perception. And when you can control all those things, you have nothing but positive actions. When you let those things run rampant, when you don't control them, when you're not disciplined in your thoughts, you're not disciplined in your feelings, and your perceptions of things are all over the place, that's when things get really negative for you. That's when it seems like things are out of your control. That's when it seems like life isn't going your way. I haven't met one negative person yet who's able to make great change in their life, to make great change in other people's lives, and who's really living their best life, you know? And it all comes from the stuff I'm talking about now, being actionable, but being purposeful in your actions, being purposeful in, okay, how do I go from step A to step B to step C? How do I maneuver myself through life in a way that it is in alignment, it is in direct vision with what I want and how I want to get there. There are a lot of people who have stumbled into success, but there aren't a lot of people who have done that know how to maintain it. And a lot of times you can be talented, a lot of times you can be very knowledgeable, you can be a lot of things, but if you're not, as I would call it, wise in these ways, and you're not able to sit down with yourself and have an honest conversation about why you think the way you think, if you don't know why you feel the way you feel about certain things, and you can't articulate those things to yourself, and you can't shift the narrative for yourself, you can't pivot your perspective, and that's where you stay stuck for years. And that's not where you want to be. That's when you get into a rut of not being efficient, and you lose precious time on your life in a place you don't want to be. What do we want to do? We want to be better people. We want to be better citizens of the world and of society. We want to be contributors. We want to be actionable folks. And we want to get what we want to get out of life. We want to be efficient. We don't want to be wasting time. This is how we do it, people. So again, man, that's all I got. This has been another episode of KENfluence. Thank y'all for checking me out, man. Continue to check out my content. We got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of subject matter that we're gonna get into. We're gonna get into just random stuff like this that I'm thinking. We're gonna have some interviews on here, and some guest speakers and some all kinds of stuff that we're gonna chop it up with. We got science topics, we got music topics, we got business topics, we got military topics out here rocking the Space Force joint. What y'all know about the Space Force hoodie? But anyway, we gonna keep it rocking, man. Follow me if you don't already follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at KENfluence. That is KEN_FLU_ENCE. Again, on Instagram, the handle is KENfluence. KEN_FLU.ENC. One more time because I jacked it up. KEN_. Dog. It's been a long day. Follow me on Instagram. My handle is as follows: KEN, wait for it, underscore FLU dot, that's a period, ENC. KEN underscore FLU dot ENC. You can schedule an interview with me if you want to, and we can get on here, chop it how you want to, and that can be a good time as well. Also, if you got questions or you want to get on the podcast on a different way, you can feel free to email me at KENfluencechannel@gmail.com. I'm on there pretty frequently. I be out here checking email. So, yeah. Where else can you guys reach me? You can find me on Spotify under KENfluence. You can find me on YouTube under KENfluence. And you can find me basically anywhere under KENfluence, man. Find me on Nike Run Plus. I'm on KENfluence there too. You can track my miles, my G, because I be out here putting in work. So yeah, man, that's that. And I'll catch y'all later, KENfolk. Y'all be easy. Peace.